Welcome. If you crave chilling true crime stories, real mysteries, and twists you'll never see coming, you're in the right place. Subscribe now and join a community that never looks away from the truth. Because every week, we shine a light where others won't. Are you ready? Let's begin. Maplewood, Oregon. Population 12,431. A place where porch lights double as beacons of trust, where kids play tag in cul-de-sacs until the streetlights flicker on, and where the loudest sound on a Saturday night is a lawnmower being put back into the garage. Maplewood isn't the kind of town you read about in headlines. It's the kind of place you drive through and think, I could raise a family here. It's late spring, a Sunday morning, and the air smells faintly of blooming lilacs and fresh-cut grass. Neighbors wave at each other as they sip steaming mugs of coffee on their porches. The kind of Sunday where time feels slower, safer, softer. But by sundown, Maplewood will never feel safe again. 8-year-old Emily Carter wakes up in her small bedroom, painted pale yellow, sunlight streaming through sheer curtains. Her room is alive with the energy of a curious, imaginative child. A shelf lined with stuffed animals, each with a name only Emily can remember. Posters of cartoon ponies and ballerinas decorate the walls. On her nightstand, a framed photo, Emily and her best friend Chloe, cheeks pressed together, holding melting ice cream cones. Emily has always been independent for her age, a free spirit with a wild streak of curiosity. She's the kind of kid who asks why more than she asks how. This morning, Emily is already dressed. Pink shorts, a unicorn t-shirt, and her favorite light-up sneakers. The ones she insists make her run faster than anyone else in Maplewood. Downstairs, her mother, Sarah Carter, is in a whirlwind of camping gear, sleeping bags rolled tight, plastic bins filled with snacks and bug spray. The Carters have been planning this weekend trip for months, a short escape to the Cascade Mountains to celebrate the end of the school year. Emily's dad, Mark, is out picking up supplies. The mood in the house is light, busy, and utterly ordinary. Don't forget your helmet, Sarah calls out as Emily wheels her bubblegum pink bike out of the garage. Emily waves, flashing a toothy grin with a missing front tooth. I won't, Mom, she says, fastening the strap like a pro. She's headed to Chloe's house, just 3 blocks away. It's a route she's taken countless times, past Mrs. Dwyer's rose bushes, over the cracked sidewalk near the old oak tree, and around the corner where the Johnsons' golden retriever always barks a friendly hello. But Emily never makes it. Hours later, when Mark Carter returns home with bags of groceries, the atmosphere has shifted. Sarah's voice is sharp, panicked. Have you seen Emily? She asks, dropping a half-packed duffel bag. No, she's at Chloe's, right? Sarah's face tells him everything. She called Chloe's mom. Emily never arrived. At first, panic hasn't fully sunk in. They check the backyard. They call neighbors. They walk up and down the street, shouting Emily's name, expecting her to come racing around a corner, cheeks flushed, full of excuses about getting distracted. But as the minutes pass, the laughter in their voices fades. The search turns frantic. Sarah's phone is trembling in her hand as she dials 911. By early afternoon, Maplewood feels different. Police cruisers are parked along quiet suburban streets. Neighbors peer from behind curtains. A sense of unease creeps in, but no one dares speak their fears aloud. A search party forms, neighbors, friends, even strangers spreading out across town. And that's when they find it, Emily's pink bike. It's lying on its side in the gravel alley behind an abandoned house on Willow Lane, a place kids whisper about but never enter. The handlebars are twisted as if yanked hard. The front wheel spins lazily in the breeze. And nearby, a single sneaker, Emily's. Sarah Carter collapses into her husband's arms as police tape goes up around the alley. The sense of dread is no longer unspoken. It's here. It's real. The abandoned house has been an eyesore for years, a crumbling 2-story relic left to rot after a foreclosure. Its windows are boarded up. Its porch sags under the weight of neglect. Weeds choke the front yard, and a rusted mailbox leans like it's about to snap. Parents tell their kids to stay away. Teenagers dare each other to get close. But no one actually goes inside. Until today. Inside, the air is heavy, stale, carrying the scent of mold and decay. Sunlight filters through cracks in the boards, cutting narrow beams across dusty furniture covered with sheets. Police officers sweep through each room, careful not to disturb potential evidence. The silence in the house is oppressive, almost unnatural. Detective Laura Briggs, a seasoned investigator known for her methodical mind, steps into the dim kitchen. Her eyes are sharp, scanning everything. The scuffed floorboards, the broken glass near the back door, the faint impression of footprints in the dust. And then she sees it, a smudge on the window near the back door. She leans closer. It's a handprint. She calls over a crime scene tech, who carefully dusts the glass. Within minutes, a chilling realization: the prints are tiny. They belong to a child, but they aren't Emily's. News spreads like wildfire. A missing child in Maplewood, a town that prides itself on safety, makes for an irresistible headline. By evening, news vans are lined up on Willow Lane. Cameras roll as reporters stand under flashing red and blue lights, microphones poised to capture every anguished plea from Emily's parents. The story isn't just local anymore. It's national. 8-year-old Emily Carter missing in quiet suburban town reads the headline on every major network. The town's innocence is shattered. Parents hold their children closer. Porch lights stay on through the night. And behind closed doors, whispers start. Who would do this? Is it someone we know? Detective Briggs sits in her car late that night, sipping bitter coffee, reviewing every detail. Briggs is in her early 40s, with a no-nonsense demeanor and a reputation for solving cases others can't. She's seen her share of tragedies, but something about this case unsettles her. Maybe it's the randomness, the boldness, the sheer audacity of snatching a child in broad daylight from a quiet neighborhood. Or maybe it's that handprint, a silent clue suggesting Emily wasn't the first child to come through that house. Briggs knows this isn't just a search. It's a race against time. As search parties fan out into the surrounding woods, tension ripples through Maplewood. Volunteers with flashlights comb through thickets. Police dogs sniff for Emily's scent. The town park, once filled with laughter, is now a command center with tents, maps, and officers in reflective vests. Every creak of a door, every rustle of leaves makes neighbors jump. Parents escort their kids everywhere, even to the mailbox. Local businesses put up Emily's picture in their windows. Flyers blanket telephone poles, a smiling little girl with brown pigtails, missing teeth, and bright blue eyes. Inside the Carter home, Sarah and Mark barely sleep. Sarah clutches Emily's favorite stuffed bunny, tears staining its matted fur. Mark sits at the kitchen table, staring at the front door, waiting for it to open. Police begin interviewing everyone in the neighborhood. Footage from doorbell cameras is collected. Strangers are questioned. But Detective Briggs notices something strange when she speaks to one of the neighbors, an older woman named Mrs. Dwyer. The woman seems nervous, wringing her hands, glancing over her shoulder. She swears she saw a dark van parked near the alley that morning, a van she didn't recognize. Briggs takes note, but something about Mrs. Dwyer's demeanor lingers in her mind. Night falls over Maplewood. The streets are quiet, but the tension is palpable, like a storm about to break. Somewhere, beyond the glow of porch lights and the flashing cameras, someone knows exactly what happened to Emily. Someone is watching the chaos unfold, unseen. And in the abandoned house on Willow Lane, forensic teams work late into the night. They bag evidence, photograph every corner. In a dusty upstairs bedroom, they find a single crayon, blue, worn down to a nub. Whose was it? And how long has it been here? The following morning, Detective Briggs stands in front of a crime board already covered in photos, maps, and leads. Her gut tells her this isn't random. This feels planned, calculated. The handprint isn't Emily's. The crayon isn't Emily's. The more Briggs uncovers, the more she feels like she's stepping into someone else's carefully constructed trap. And as she reviews the evidence for the 100th time, something gnaws at her, a detail she can't quite place. Something she missed. That's when the lab calls. The fingerprints on the window don't match anyone in the system. Not Emily, not a neighbor, not even a known offender. They belong to another unknown child. Detective Laura Briggs sits in her dimly lit office, a stack of case files spread across her desk like a morbid deck of cards. Outside, the clouds over Maplewood have darkened, mirroring the heaviness settling over the town. She runs her fingers along a folder marked in red, cold case. Briggs has seen this before. a town clinging to its illusion of safety while a predator roams free. She knows that if she wants to find Emily alive, she has to think beyond Maplewood. She has to dig into the past, and that's when she finds them. 5 years ago, in Ashwood, a town just 40 miles away, a 6-year-old girl named Lily Foster vanished without a trace. She'd been walking home from her grandmother's house, less than 2 blocks away. Her small backpack was found at the entrance of a boarded-up duplex that had been abandoned for over a decade. No one was ever charged. 3 years later, in Ridgefield, another little girl, Sophie Ramirez, age 7, disappeared while riding her scooter. Her scooter was discovered leaning against the wall of a shuttered gas station. Again, no suspects, no arrests. And now, Emily Carter. 3 girls, 3 towns, 3 abandoned properties. Briggs' heart pounds as she pins photos of Lily and Sophie on her investigation board next to Emily's. It's as if the case is speaking to her. She sees a pattern others missed. A predator isn't just striking at random. He's hunting. Carefully. Patiently. By the next morning, the story has grown too big to contain. National news networks swarm Maplewood. Satellite trucks line the streets. Helicopters buzz overhead. The media finally gives the faceless monster a name, the House Hunter. The nickname spreads like wildfire. Talk shows debate his motives. True crime podcasts churn out speculation. Reporters crowd the steps of Maplewood's police station, shouting questions as Detective Briggs slips inside, coffee in hand, her jaw tight with frustration. She doesn't care for theatrics. She wants results. But with every passing hour, fear strangles Maplewood tighter. Parents pull their kids out of school. Swing sets stand empty. Volunteers patrol playgrounds, armed with flashlights and suspicion. In a town where nobody used to lock their doors, windows are now nailed shut, blinds drawn. Briggs knows predators often hide in plain sight. She orders her team to re-interview every resident within a half-mile radius of where Emily disappeared. Nothing is too small. Nothing is irrelevant. The first lead is almost laughably ordinary. A white delivery van seen parked near Maple Street the morning Emily vanished. No one remembers the company logo. No one wrote down a plate number. But Briggs doesn't dismiss it. Then there's the new couple on Willow Lane, the one neighbors can't quite figure out. They moved in just 3 weeks ago. They keep to themselves. Friendly enough, but guarded. And then there's the reclusive old man, Arthur Grady. Retired, widowed, living in the same decaying house for decades. No one's seen him leave in days. His blinds stay closed. His porch light hasn't been on in years. Children whisper stories about him, claiming he's a hermit, a ghost, maybe even a monster. To Briggs, he's more than a rumor. He's a potential key. That afternoon, Briggs pulls up to Grady's property. The yard is overgrown, weeds clawing at the cracked driveway. The house looms like a shadow, its paint peeling in long strips, its shutters sagging. She approaches the front door and knocks. No answer. She knocks again, louder. Nothing. A neighbor peeks through their curtains across the street. Briggs senses eyes on her, whispers spreading. In a town this paranoid, her presence is a spectacle. Finally, the door creaks open a few inches. Arthur Grady peers out, a thin, gaunt man in his 70s, with watery blue eyes and a tremor in his hands. His voice is raspy, suspicious. "What do you want?" "Detective Laura Briggs," she says, flashing her badge. "Mind if I ask you a few questions?" Grady hesitates, glancing over her shoulder as if checking for an ambush. Then he opens the door wider. Inside, the house smells of mothballs and dust. The curtains are drawn, casting everything in a sickly yellow light. Briggs notices the meticulous order of the place. Newspapers stacked neatly, books arranged by size, no clutter out of place. "Do you live alone, Mr. Grady?" Briggs asks, her tone calm but firm. "Yes," he says, settling into an armchair. "Haven't had company in years." She studies him carefully, noting the way his eyes dart nervously around the room. "Were you home on Sunday morning?" Grady nods. "I was. Did you see or hear anything unusual?" "No." It's short, clipped, too rehearsed. Briggs presses. "You didn't see a pink bike? A little girl riding past your house?" Grady stiffens. "No." Her instincts tingle. Something is off. He's hiding something. She can feel it. While Briggs is inside Grady's house, Maplewood is unraveling outside. Parents patrol the streets with binoculars, suspicious of every car that drives by. The local hardware store sells out of locks and security cameras. Social media becomes a breeding ground for rumors, each wilder than the last. At the Carter home, Sarah collapses in the kitchen, exhaustion finally catching up to her. Mark tries to stay strong, but even he can't hide the cracks. Their daughter's face is everywhere, on television, on flyers, on billboards. They feel like they're living in a nightmare. Briggs scans the shelves. Something catches her eye, a small, dusty box on the mantel. She steps closer. Inside are dozens of old photographs, mostly landscapes, trees, and empty streets. But one photo makes her freeze. It's a snapshot of the abandoned house on Willow Lane, taken from a distance. She turns back to Grady, her voice low but sharp. "Why do you have a photo of that house?" Grady fidgets, his fingers twitching. I used to be a photographer. Took pictures of old buildings, that's all. Just buildings. He nods. But Briggs notices sweat beading on his forehead, the tremor in his hand worsening. Briggs leaves the house with more questions than answers. Grady may be harmless, a lonely old man clinging to his hobbies. Or he could be hiding something darker. She radios her team. Pull his records. Any arrests, complaints, anything. I want a full background check on Arthur Grady. As she drives away, she glances in her rearview mirror. Grady is watching her from his window, his face pale and expressionless. Days pass. The investigation feels like a game of chess against an invisible opponent. Briggs analyzes every scrap of evidence. The crayon found in the abandoned house, the fingerprints that don't match Emily's, the delivery that no one can track down. Every lead feels like it's leading her in circles. But she knows one thing for sure. Whoever the house hunter is, he's not new at this. He's patient, calculated, and he's watching them all. Late one night, Briggs sits in her car outside Grady's house, watching. His blinds remain shut, the house silent. She's about to call it a night when movement catches her eye, a shadow in the upstairs window. She grabs her binoculars. The shape moves again. Someone else is in the house. And it's not Arthur Grady. By sunrise, Maplewood is no longer just a frightened town, it's an angry one. Crowds gather outside the police station, clutching signs, demanding justice. Parents shout into news cameras. Rumors have spread faster than facts, and the name on everyone's lips is Thomas Hale. Neighbors who never noticed him before now spit his name like poison. Some call him a monster. Others whisper about the photographs found in his home. The line between fear and rage blurs as the crowd chants for his arrest. Inside the interrogation room, Detective Laura Briggs steels herself. She knows the mob wants blood, but she also knows appearances can deceive. Hale sits hunched at the metal table, his wrists chained. He's in his late 40s, unshaven, with deep-set eyes that flick nervously around the room. He looks less like a predator and more like a man who's been swallowed by loneliness. Briggs drops a clear evidence bag on the table. Inside, a pair of children's shoes, scuffed and dirty. "Explain this," she says. Hale's voice trembles. They're not what you think." "Then tell me what they are." "I found them. In dumpsters, alleyways, near those houses." He swallows hard. "I keep them because no child should be forgotten." Briggs leans forward. "You expect me to believe that?" His eyes fill with tears. "I'm not lying. You think I hurt them, but I didn't. I've been watching. That's all. Watching the houses." Briggs narrows her eyes. "Watching them for what?" Hale's voice cracks. "Because someone's using them. The houses. To lure kids in." She studies him carefully. His story reeks of paranoia, but his desperation feels real. "Who?" Hale's hands shake as he grips the edge of the table. "I don't know their name, but I've seen them." "Seen who?" His answer is almost a whisper. "A woman. Always a woman. She wears a floral dress. I saw her at the house in Ashwood, at the gas station in Ridgefield, and here, in Maplewood." Briggs freezes. Hale has just described something no one outside her investigation should know, the link between the abandoned properties. She steps out of the interrogation room, her mind racing. To the other officers, Hale looks like the perfect suspect. Odd, isolated, with boxes of children's shoes in his possession. But what if he's not the hunter? What if he's just the watchman? Briggs stares at the photos pinned to her investigation board. Lily, Sophie, Emily. 3 little girls who vanished near places no one dared enter. And now Hale's words echo in her head. A woman in a floral dress. Could it be real? Or is she chasing the delusion of a broken man? Meanwhile, Sarah Carter has spent the past week drowning in fear. She can't sleep. She can't eat. Every time the phone rings, her heart stops. This morning, she finds an envelope in her mailbox. No return address. Inside, a postcard. On the front, a photograph of a carousel, its horses frozen mid-gallop, their painted eyes wide. On the back, scrawled in uneven handwriting, "She's safe for now. Don't call the cops." Sarah's scream rattles the walls. Mark rushes in and grabs the card. His hands shake as he reads it. The message is clear. Emily is alive. But she's in the hands of someone who enjoys control, someone playing a twisted game. When Briggs arrives at the Carter home, the postcard is already sealed in an evidence bag. The handwriting will be analyzed. The postcard's origin traced. But Briggs knows the message means more than just proof of life. It's a taunt. The house hunter, or whoever this is, wants them to know they're watching. And if Hale's story about the woman in the floral dress is true, then the profile has shifted. This isn't the work of a lone, creepy man. This feels organized, calculated. The community reels. For weeks, parents were convinced the monster lived behind closed blinds, in the shadow of Arthur Grady or the eccentricities of Thomas Hale. But now, whispers spread of something far more sinister. Could a woman really be behind this? A neighbor? A mother? Someone everyone overlooked because they didn't fit the image of a predator? Suddenly, every woman in Maplewood becomes a question mark. The new neighbor with the too bright smile. The librarian who always knows the children's schedules. The substitute teacher who only appeared in town 2 months ago. Briggs feels the walls closing in. She has to recalibrate everything she thought she knew. At the police station, Briggs stares at the postcard. The carousel. Why that image? Her team pulls records. There used to be a carousel at the county fairgrounds in Ashwood, the same town where Lily Foster vanished. It was dismantled years ago. Another carousel once stood near Ridgefield's old amusement park, just blocks from where Sophie Ramirez disappeared. The carousel isn't random. It's a breadcrumb, a symbol, and now it's come to Maplewood. That night, Briggs sits alone in her office, the postcard under a desk lamp. Hale's words, Sarah's tears, the children's faces, they all blur together in her mind. She closes her eyes and pictures it. The houses, the shadows, the floral dress swaying in the dark. A carousel spinning endlessly, its music warped and hollow. Her phone buzzes. It's forensics. They've lifted a partial fingerprint from the postcard, and it doesn't match Hale. It belongs to a woman. Detective Laura Briggs drives down a cracked, forgotten highway 30 miles outside of Maplewood. The air is heavy, overcast, as if even the sky knows what she's about to find. Her destination looms ahead, Fairwood Park, a once bustling amusement ground now left to rot. The sign at the entrance is rusted, letters peeling. The gates creak in the wind. Beyond them, an eerie graveyard of carnival rides stretches into the distance. Ferris wheel cabins swaying slightly, paint peeling from roller coaster beams, faded banners flapping like ghosts of laughter. Briggs' pulse quickens. The postcard had shown a carousel, and here it is, standing in the center of the park like a shrine. Horses frozen mid-gallop, their painted eyes dulled with dust, their smiles twisted and cracked. SWAT teams move in. Flashlights slice through the gloom. Every corner is searched, every ride inspected. But it's empty. No children, no captors, only silence. Another dead end. As the team disperses, Briggs lingers by the carousel. She runs her fingers over the postcard in her pocket. Something feels off. She checks the postmark again. Her stomach knots. The card wasn't mailed from Ashwood, not from Ridgefield, not even from the county where this amusement park sits. It was mailed from Maplewood, from Emily's very own neighborhood. The realization chills her. Whoever sent this didn't just want to taunt the Carters. They wanted to flaunt their proximity. They're right under everyone's nose. The next morning, Briggs returns to Emily's block. She's walked these streets a dozen times already, knocked on doors, taken statements, smiled politely at neighbors who offered casseroles and condolences. But now, she looks at them differently. Every house isn't just a home. It's a potential hiding place. Her eyes settle on the Petersons. The perfect family. The Petersons are the kind of family Maplewood prides itself on. Thomas and Rachel Peterson. 2 kids, Teenagers, polite, high-achieving, always seen mowing lawns or helping with bake sales. Their home is immaculate. White picket fence, manicured hedges, a flag fluttering neatly on the porch. Since Emily's disappearance, the Petersons have been everywhere, bringing food to the Carters, organizing search parties, offering comfort on camera. Almost too perfect. Briggs knows from experience. Predators often hide in plain sight, wrapped in layers of charm and normalcy. Briggs doesn't make her move immediately. She orders discreet surveillance first. Officers park unmarked cars nearby. They watch the Petersons' routines. School runs, grocery trips, friendly waves to neighbors. Nothing suspicious. Until one night, when an officer notices the father, Thomas Peterson, wheeling a heavy box into the house at midnight. No lights on. No explanation. Briggs doesn't wait. The next day, she requests a quiet search warrant. The team moves in while the Petersons are away. The house feels ordinary at first. Family photos lining the walls. The smell of vanilla candles lingering in the air. A life polished to perfection. But then, in the kitchen pantry, an officer notices something strange. The shelving unit doesn't quite line up with the wall. A closer inspection reveals a seam. Too precise, too deliberate. A false wall. They push. The panel gives way. Behind it, a narrow staircase leading down. The air grows colder with each step. At the bottom, a heavy metal door. They pry it open. What they find makes every stomach turn. The basement is windowless, lined with soundproofing. The smell of mildew mixes with something metallic, fear and secrecy. And there, along one wall, sits a bank of surveillance monitors, each one flickering with live feeds. Not of Maplewood streets, not of ordinary homes, but of abandoned houses across different towns. Ashwood, Ridgefield, Maplewood. Each screen shows a different forgotten place, grainy black and white footage from hidden cameras. The realization hits like a tidal wave. The disappearances weren't random. The predator was watching, studying, hunting. From here, Briggs stares at the monitors, her reflection in the cold glass. Dozens of files, VHS tapes, and hard drives are stacked neatly on shelves. Notes pinned to corkboards detail children's schedules, addresses, habits. And then, she spots something worse. In the corner of the basement, a small wooden chair. A child's toy resting on the floor beside it. Emily's stuffed bunny. Briggs' hands clench into fists. Her voice is low but resolute. They've had her here. Upstairs, footsteps echo. The Petersons returning home. The officers freeze. Briggs signals for silence. The front door opens. Voices drift down. Laughter. Ordinary, casual. But nothing about the Petersons is ordinary anymore. The perfect family just became the perfect suspects. The quiet calm of Maplewood shatters under the weight of black-clad SWAT officers storming the Peterson home. The cul-de-sac, once a picture of suburban tranquility, erupts with flashing lights, shouted commands, and the metallic slam of a battering ram splintering the front door. Neighbors watch from behind curtains, horrified. As the perfect family, they wave to every morning is dragged from their home in handcuffs. Inside, the basement glows under harsh flashlight beams. The monitors flicker, the grainy footage of abandoned houses still playing like some grotesque reality show. And in the corner, huddled on the floor, is Emily. Her clothes are dirty, her face streaked with tears, but she's alive. A SWAT officer scoops her up, his voice trembling as he radios. "We have her. Emily Carter is secure." The relief is deafening. Thomas and Rachel Peterson, the smiling couple who baked cookies for block parties, are shoved into the back of separate patrol cars. Rachel's eyes are wide, glassy, unblinking. Thomas says nothing, his jaw clenched. The entire neighborhood gathers on the street, stunned. The perfect couple, the perfect home, and beneath it, hell itself. Detective Briggs watches the scene unfold, her face a mask of grim determination. She knows this isn't over, not by a long shot. At the hospital, Sarah Carter finally sees her daughter again. The reunion is heart-wrenching. Emily sobbing in her mother's arms, Sarah whispering over and over, "You're safe, baby. You're safe now." But Briggs knows Emily isn't safe. Not truly. Not when the Petersons' motives are still a mystery. Rachel sits in an interrogation room, her hair disheveled, her hands trembling. She looks like a woman broken in two. Briggs enters, sliding a folder onto the table. Tell me why, she says softly. Rachel laughs, a hollow, bitter sound. Why? Because no one ever asked where the children went, detective. They wanted them. We just supplied them. Briggs' jaw tightens. Supplied them? To who? Rachel leans forward, her smile twisted. We gave them to families who could afford them. We told ourselves we were helping. Private adoptions, we called them. But let's not pretend. It was a business. A good one. As detectives comb through the Petersons' mansion, they uncover a horrifying network. Hidden safes stuffed with cash. False passports. Birth certificates forged with precision. The abandoned houses weren't just hiding places. They were bait. Carefully chosen, carefully monitored. The perfect way to make every disappearance look random. But then they find the journal. It's leather-bound, meticulously organized. Each page is a chilling ledger. Names, dates, locations. 10 years' worth of abductions. Briggs turns the pages slowly, her stomach churning. And then she freezes. Emily's name is there. But next to it, a note, message sent. And below that, Sarah Carter. Briggs rushes back to the interrogation room. Rachel smiles when she sees her face. You figured it out, Rachel whispers. Sarah Carter, Briggs says. Why her? Rachel leans back in her chair. Because she ruined everything. Years ago, she exposed us. Shut down the agency we built. We lost millions. We lost everything. So we decided she'd lose, too. You kidnapped her daughter. You wanted her to suffer. Rachel's smile widens. We didn't want Emily. We wanted Sarah to know what it felt like to have something ripped away. To live with that fear. The revelation spreads through Maplewood like wildfire. The Petersons weren't just predators. They were part of a sophisticated child trafficking network disguised as a legitimate adoption agency. Their sunny smiles and suburban perfection were a mask for unimaginable evil. Emily is home, but the damage lingers. She barely speaks, clinging to her mother's hand, as if letting go would mean disappearing again. Sarah is haunted not only by her daughter's trauma, but by the knowledge that her own heroism years ago sparked this nightmare. Days later, Briggs is in her office, the journal spread open before her. She flips to the final page. There, written in neat handwriting, is a single line. We weren't the only ones. Look next door. Briggs stares at the words, her mind spinning. Next door? Was this another taunt? Another clue? Or a warning that Maplewood's nightmare has only just begun?